Fox 2 presents Hancock and Kelley.
And good Sunday morning to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to Hancock and Kelley on Fox 2, where we take on the top issues of the week. On the right, John Hancock.
And a happy St. Patrick's Day to Michael Sean Kelley.
Michael Sean Kelley. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
And the top of the morning to all of you.
All right, they got their green ties on. I got Fighting Illini colors.
Hey, now.
I am wearing green shoes, though, right? You can
Yeah.
All right, on the agenda, pop singer Olivia Rodrigo makes international news in St. Louis, giving away Plan B birth control pills to fans at her concert here. A backlash has her changing her tune. A form of child marriage is still legal in Missouri. Hundreds of 16 and 17-year-olds are being legally wed. Should that be banned? A win in court for prosecutor Fani Willis in the Georgia election interference case against Donald Trump, but is it really a win? And our quote of the week is from Senator Bernie Sanders, who says America needs to go to a 4-day work week. Also, special counsel Robert Hur tells the House Judiciary Committee that he stands by his assessment of President Biden's memory issues and that he did not exonerate the president in a federal documents case. But we begin with the disturbing, even deadly, after-school violence in St. Louis County. Videos of two incidents just days apart went viral, sparking responses from Jefferson City to Washington, D.C. Former St. Louis County Police Chief Tim Fitch says there is a solution, a renewed commitment to policing.
It's not a theory. I saw it work. I was in homicide during the crack epidemic in the 90s. I saw it work. We really put a stop to it because it was a combined law enforcement effort to put a stop to it because it was so deadly. We need to have the same kind of initiative here.
Fitch is now a police consultant for departments across the United States. A 14-year-old boy was stabbed and killed after a school fight in Jennings right after school, not on school property. That was just days after a 15-year-old girl from Hazelwood East was left with brain damage from an after-school fight. There was a moment of silence at the state legislature in Jefferson City for the 14-year-old boy. In Washington, D.C., Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt blamed woke policies of the progressive left. John, the videos are beyond disturbing. Are these just isolated incidents, or do elected leaders need to address this?
Well, it's a symptom of a very sick culture that we have in this country. And, fundamentally, it's a breakdown of the family structure. Parents aren't parenting their kids. These kids are running wild out there. They're committing now increasingly heinous crimes. Tim Fitch is right. There needs to be a greater emphasis on policing. Most of these schools, the Hazelwood School District, I'm sure, has law enforcement presence in its buildings on a daily basis. So you would think if there's these kinds of tensions that exist, that there'd be some communication to the police department from the school security officer. But, they're tragic and they're senseless, and they're a sign of a very sick culture that we're living in and experiencing.
In the absence of that family structure, do we turn to the police?
Well, I'm not sure. I typically sympathize and agree with Tim Fitch when he talks about the need for more policing in the region. I don't equate the crack problem of the 90s to what's happening in schools. I don't know that sending more police officers to schools are going to fix this problem. But it is kind of telling that we have young people who their first reaction is to turn to violence. That's not uncommon, right? We all saw fights and stuff when we were in high school, but we've never seen anything like we're witnessing here, slamming that head on the thing, bringing a knife. I think there's a larger, societal / mental health type game we should be playing in schools. I don't know that putting more police officers there fixes this.
From 2019 through 2021, more than 230 minors ages 16 to 17 were legally married in Missouri. A woman forced to marry when she was 16 says she was also forced to have children and then not allowed to leave her house after dark.
I was a child having to make adult decisions. I had no one advocating for me or my right to stay a child.
A new bill in the Missouri legislature with both Republican and Democrat sponsors would set the minimum age for getting married in Missouri at 18. Currently, 16 and 17-year-olds can get married, but only with consent of at least one parent and only to someone who is also under age 21. Good idea or government overreach, Michael?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, especially it's surprising that they haven't passed something like this before. So I'm pleased to see that we're getting rid of childhood marriage in the state of Missouri. We were focused on books for a while. It seems like this is the type of stuff we should be focusing on.
What if you have a 15, 16, 17-year-old mother and maybe marriage is a means of support?
Yeah. So, I don't have strong feelings on this. I think as a general rule, 16 is too young to be getting married. But you have girls getting impregnated at 16 and 17 years old, and should marriage then be an option for them to the father of that baby? I don't know. I mean, these are, difficult circumstances. I think generally it makes sense to have an age limit for marriage, but there could be circumstances where that's not the case.
There's a Republican and Democrat sponsor. Do you get any sense that this is a Democrat versus Republican, the outstate Republicans in favor of allowing some child marriage? Or
no, I mean, I think you've got a nut or two out there who are going to say that, they shouldn't be infringing. But I think it's pretty much across the board. People see that this just doesn't make sense.
Maybe a slam dunk?
Probably, yeah. But I do, I can see scenarios where a hard and fast law like that would need some kind of a mechanism in it.
For an exception.
Yeah.
Alarm bells grow louder about massive population loss in St. Louis. Census estimates show the city of St. Louis is losing thousands of residents every year, and now St. Louis County is too. The city has lost about 20% of its population in just the past 20 years, more than half of its population in the past 50 years. Why is this important, Michael? And is there any unified vision for getting St. Louis growing again? Can it happen?
Well, there's nothing unified about St. Louis, period. We're such a government that's separated by so many different levels that's, so antiquated and wrong. The real problem here is often when we have these conversations, people want to reflect on the city and they want to say this is a city problem. Sure, the city's losing a lot of problems. St. Louis County is the smallest it's been since 1990. Sure, St. Charles County continues to grow, but not at the rate that we're losing people.
Right.
We have a lot of progressive policies that are being implemented in both the city and the county. People are saying that they're wanting to do this to help African American families. The stats show that the families that are leaving the region, going to other cities, not relocating to other parts of the region, are African Americans. So maybe it's time to take a step back, reflect on where we're at. The big, most important thing that needs to happen here, though, is whether you live in O'Fallon, Missouri, O'Fallon, Illinois, Webster Groves, or the city of St. Louis, this all matters. What's happening in that city and the crime that's happening in this city that's now spreading out is hurting all of us. And whether or not you believe it affects you, long term, you cannot be a suburb to nowhere. And that is where we're headed in this region.
It sort of strikes you every time when you drive into the city limits. The population signs, I believe, are still up from 2010, and they say 319,000.
Yeah, it's the opposite. It's the opposite of McDonald's, where they over 1 billion served. We're going in the other direction.
They say about 319,000 on the signs. It's actually about 280.
280, yeah.
It's 40,000 less.
Yeah, it's bad. And now there is one bit of good news here. All over this country, Andy, there are St. Louis-themed restaurants and bars popping up in Phoenix and Denver because St. Louisans are moving there, and they're opening St. Louis-themed restaurants. This is a symptom of a very sick community. And we're losing population because the opportunities aren't there. And my kids went to high school here. And I can't begin to tell you how many of their friends have relocated to Denver and Austin and Nashville.
So what's the vision for fixing it? What do we want some elected leader or someone who's running for office to say, this is the St. Louis I see, this is what we're going to be, and this is how we get there?
We need cooperation. And if you listen to some of the leaders from the fringe, whether it be Mark Kern over in Illinois or Steve Ailman in St. Charles, they're benefiting from this population influx. They're the ones who are the loudest saying, hey, long term, this is a problem for us in the region. We can't attract business if we're continuing to watch this city rot. And what it comes down to is the regular push and pull of the St. Louis. And what always wins here is, well, we always do it this way. Well, maybe we need to change the way we've always done things.
You need to have a civic infrastructure that includes business and government and education leaders. And let's look at the assets we have. We're centrally located. We're a ideal distribution hub in this country. We are the nexus of the agribusiness. We need to build that infrastructure. We also have an emerging tech environment here and infrastructure, but I don't sense that there's a lot of cooperation and coordination going on amongst our civic leadership.
Yeah, and the reality is the bones of a big, vibrant city are here.
Right.
It's evaporated a bit. But what's going to take is this is no longer a city problem. This is all of us. And the first thing that's going to need to take place is an acknowledgement that we're all in this together. And I think if people really do some soul searching, we kind of go to our own fiefdoms and think, I only have to deal with that when I go to the ball game. No, this is all of our problem.
We have another congressional race in St. Louis. Journalist and publisher Ray Hartman, who founded the Riverfront Times newspaper and a longtime member of the Donnybrook panel over on Channel 9, is running as a Democrat against longtime Republican St. Louis County Congresswoman Ann Wagner. Hartman also ran St. Louis Magazine. He's been, as I said, a longtime panelist on the PBS political talk show, Donnybrook, one of our faves. The conservative Wagner is seeking a 7th term. Hartman is campaigning as an anti-Trump candidate who will fight to restore abortion rights for Missouri women. Wagner is pro-life. John, the congressional district is in play, according to Hartman. Could it be?
I don't think so. I mean, it's more likely that I will finish 12th in the Boston Marathon this year than Ray Hartman is going to win this congressional. The district's changed. It was redrawn in 2022. It's more Republican than it was. And this will not be targeted by the National Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. So I think Ann Wagner's future is pretty secure here. Will
this be a bellwether for abortion if that's on the ballot also? Could it make it in play?
This
like Ray
is the
says?
place where we can see the impact of the suburban vote that we continue to talk about. Having said this is a really steep hill for Ray Hartman, except he's a household name. A lot of people know him. Anything's possible, especially in an election where the Republicans and Wagner are clinging on to a politician who's not really well liked in the suburbs like Donald Trump.
Up next, President Biden's memory issues dominate a congressional hearing, and the Georgia district attorney who's prosecuting Donald Trump gets a courtroom victory. Or does she?